So much of New York was just covered with ash and soot, and days, maybe weeks later, it was still smoky in the air. Those buildings were so huge. When you look at photos of pre-9/11 and you see the World Trade Center, it's so much taller than anything else around it. And for both of those towers to just come crumbling down, the smoke just billowed throughout the city, and the ashes, and cars had inches of soot and ash on them, and it was just amazing to see the destruction.
Were you, on this day, and I imagine the days and possibly weeks following, how glued to the TV or to the radio were you personally during that time?
I mean, I went to work, of course, every day, but I had the radio on. Every chance I got, I was in front of the TV, just soaking up the coverage and looking for answers, trying to make sense of it. It was just it was a strange feeling to realize how vulnerable America was, and to try to figure things out. Why would people do this? How could they do this with planes? Now we've had 20 years of higher security at airports, but back then things were not that secure. So these people got on planes and were able to take over. It would be much more difficult to do now, but yeah, it was so sudden and so unexpected. And I think everybody was sort of glued to the TV, relying on media to get information out, to make sense of it all, to uncover the facts, to figure out really what was going on, what was happening. It was a strange time.
And that question of how could this have possibly happened, I think for someone like myself my parents took me on flights when I was very young, before I could remember, but the first flight that I actually remember going on was post 9/11. So I think for people in my generation and younger, that question really is one that we had as well. I got on a plane, and I think they had some knives or other small weapons, and were able to take over the plane and steer it in a different direction. It blows my mind.
Different times, just totally different times.